Good morning and welcome to my channel. My name is Shoshana and I am a guide to life. And what I'd like to talk about is finding God beyond religion. Recently, for the last couple of days, this has kind of been stirring within me, and I feel like I need to make this video. Um, I've had a correspondence a couple days ago with one of my viewers regarding this subject. We discussed it a little bit, and I kind of want to bring it to light because I feel like there are so many people that through religion have been very conditioned and have a lot of trauma from religion or lost the sight of God because of religion. I know personally in my own family, my mother was raised in a very strict religious home, which made her completely push against religion, and as well for me in some aspects. And the way that I actually connected to God was when I went through my life. I don't want to say an atheist, but really I didn't have any belief. And when I was asked about God, I would say, I don't know. I don't have a knowing. And today my belief is so absolute. There is, when you find God on your own, it is such an absolute knowing that you cannot deny it. And so I kind of want to bring that part home. When I myself found God, it wasn't what I expected. It's not like this man in the sky that you pray to. It is an inseparable part of me. So I went inward to try to find out who I am. And at the very core of my own essence, I found that I am connected to one divine intelligence, that everything else in the universe in infinity is connected to. My life source. I am inseparable from God. The word God has so much attached to it that it irks a lot of people because it is connected to religions. And from what I found, and after finding God within me, I started searching a little bit through religion. I'm not an expert on specific religions. I was raised Jewish, and today and my great grandfather was Christian. He was even a founder of a specific the Church of God Seventh Day, and Andrew Duggar, and so I had a lot of background that came from religion, but growing up, I kind of pushed against it and couldn't find my own belief in it. So I kind of went through life um, really with no really real religion, just kind of keeping some holidays as tradition, but never really connecting to it in a way of feeling the spiritual aspect of it. Connected more to like the story aspect of it, or traditional, okay, we have a holiday. It's the 4th of July. It's kind of the same kind of feeling. And only after I started doing my own internal work and my self healing, because I had gone through life and you at first, you go through life and you're in the run of life. And then you're like, well, where's the meaning? You start searching for more meaning, and my whole life fell apart. The way that I was running my life, right? Running after money, physical things. And then you start searching for more meaning. And I started going inward in that healing and healing myself, and through that finding God. And then after that start looking into some of the scriptures, the ancient scriptures, and then you see it completely different. You see it as a bridge between man and God. And what happens is many people get lost in religion and in the tradition and in the rituals, that the religion turns into the God itself. It turns into, oh, you have to do these rituals or you're not holy. Whereas the rituals were put there in order to find God, in order to connect to God. But if you are just doing it with your mind and doing it as a ritual that you have to do this, it turns into the same thing as praying to idols. It becomes praying to the ritual rather than using the ritual to find God as a bridge to God. And so many people are lost in those rules, the structure that religion has become, that confines you and holds you in, and it feels almost like a prison. You have to get up and you have to do this, otherwise you're not holy. And the guilt that is caused in that, because you are trying to be perfect in something that you is external from you, that there are these, that everybody in your community are running by these certain set of rules, and it seems, and they must know what they're doing, so you're looking outside of you for approval if you're doing it okay or not doing it okay. And if you're not connecting to God through it and you're just doing it for the ritual, then the ritual becomes your God. And then it's kind of like you're lost, because when you find God, when you truly find your inner source, that the true God within, the answers are apparent to you. You don't need the religion any longer to um, to know the difference between right and wrong, and to be aligned, and to feel held, and to feel, and to know intuitively where to put yourself and what is right and what is wrong. Because when you find those answers within yourself, you have all of the security. You don't need those rituals to tell you anymore what is right and what is wrong. And so before I get into it, because I made so many notes, this has been the last couple of days, it's just been flowing through me, and I've been writing and writing and writing. I'm going to get to it as quickly as I possibly can, kind of go through it and bring up the points. Um, there was a point here. Just a second. I'm going to put it on pause so I can reconnect. Give me a sec. Okay, I'm just going to start going through the points that I wrote down and touch on each one a little bit. And I trust that what needs to come will come. And so we get lost in the ritual aspect and forget the main point. So that is just what I talked about, and not getting lost in the ritual rather than the meaning. So a lot of times in prayer, you'll get caught on saying each word exactly as it is and just going through the prayers. And a lot of time it doesn't even hit you. You're not thinking of it. You're not feeling it, the prayer. So you're kind of missing the point. Just saying it is not the point of it. And so religion is a bridge to connect man with God. Finding God is from within. I already touched those. The guilt in religion, the guilt when you don't get it right, when you feel like, oh, I didn't say that prayer this morning, or I forgot to wash my hands, and this, all the ritual stuff. And then you start feeling all this guilt. So then it turns the religion into something that is restricting you rather than enhancing and expanding you. And so it's kind of like missing the point. It's making you feel unworthy rather than allowing you to see how worthy you are. So it's belittling instead of expanding. All is perfect, just the way that it is. So everything that we are and is exactly as, there are no mistakes. So were created by a divine intelligence. We could never create this, right? You can't create. I mean, you can bear children, but you could have never created children in every single little molecule and atom and the DNA, and in perfect, each one different, and each one perfect. So and you see how we fit with nature, how we fit with each other, how everything is in harmony in nature and in creation. And when you can see that, you can see the perfection in yourself as well. So there are no mistakes. So even the questioning ourselves is part of the experience, and it is exact. That is part of the expansion of God. And so everything is perfect. There are no aspects of ourselves. We're taught that there's parts of us that are dirty and parts of us that are righteous. Of course, there is the choice between right and wrong, really, the choice between good and evil. And so there are all things exist on the spectrum, right? And when you choose good, there's if you go through the Ten Commandments, the Ten Commandments are a very good map. They're ancient and they are still very accurate. And one of the Ten Commandments is love your brother as yourself. And if you just keep that one commandment, it will keep you in righteousness because it is a very good compass of right and wrong, right? Because a lot of times, because we have an ego which allows us to have this experience, right? And that's what we're doing. We're purifying ourselves. Just doing unto your brother as you would want done unto you. Anything that you do, you have that compass of saying, well, would I want something like that, somebody to do something like that to me? And just in keeping that commandment, you already can purify yourself so much. And as you purify yourself, the purification becomes almost automatic. Because as you start letting go all of the falsities and all of the false behaviors and places that you are out of alignment with cause and effect, out of alignment with God, then out of alignment with the all, the way things are, out of harmony in a harmonic setting, right? So if you start setting yourself right, you start seeing more and more the places that you are. It's like going into the black hole. The closer you get, the quicker you go, and the more you see. So it's just setting the ball in motion, because like that's Kleenex. Like I say, you pull out one Kleenex, it pulls out the next one, it pulls out the next one. When you find an impurity in yourself and you start setting yourself right, you will start seeing more and more places, and the feeling is so good that it will become almost like, I want to say, an addiction. The self-purification process becomes something that becomes the most important thing in your life, more important than anything in the physical world. Your connection to God, because within that connection to God, you connect to the all-knowing. You connect to everything that is. You connect to the divine intelligence, infinite intelligence. And when you set yourself right and quit pushing against and you're not out of sync with the all, then you have all of that information, all of that power to work with you. And it is working with you. And so all is perfect exactly as it is. You can trust in that. Okay. Many times in religion, all the rules and regulations give God like attributes of man. Okay, you have to pray in the morning, otherwise you're going to hell. Or you have to, so in it itself, you can see if God created man and all of man's attributes, and this was something that we discussed, I discussed with the viewer that contacted me that we had a correspondence with, and this is something that I've also seen within myself. Questions that I had is, if God is almighty and made all of creation, why does God need me to pray? Is it a greedy God? Is it a God that needs a pat on the back? Oh yeah, you did so good, so let me pray to you. Is it a God that needs to be put on a pedestal, that needs some kind of I'm missing the perfect word here. There's a perfect word, like a like somebody that's full of themselves, so that he needs me to pray to him, otherwise I'm going to be punished. If God made all of creation and I am part of creation, God is so vast. And if I was created with choice, And there's millions and billions of people that don't get up and pray every morning, and they still live life and they still live a full life. And across the world, there's so many different people that have so many different beliefs. Who's right? Who's wrong? Where is only my religion's right and everybody else is wrong? That's a manly that's of the manly trait. That is an egotistical trait. So in many religions, they give attributes to God that are man attributes. That means it's making God small like man. And and so in that way, religion is even just in our own human consciousness, we can perceive that is off. And so many religions reduce God into something that is so small. Um, okay, God is pure love, and this is why we can choose. Okay, so God is of pure love, that so pure of love, in fact, that we have the choice and God will accept. What is pure love? Pure love is pure acceptance. It's pure allowance. So we were given out of pure love this life to live, and we get to choose. And we are so unconditionally loved and held that we have the choice to even choose that we don't believe in that unconditional love, and we will be supported in whatever we choose to believe. And that is the extent of the unconditional love. I kind of feel like I didn't do justice to that, to that point, but I'm not going to get stuck on it because I don't feel like I have better words for it. It's something that you have to kind of get from within. Like the unconditionalness of the love is so unconditional that allows you even to perceive that you are not held. If you choose not to believe in God, then God allows you even that in the pure love and acceptance and unconditional. All of creation is pure intelligence of all that is. Okay, God does not need costumes. This is man made up. So in many religions, there's like costumes that people wear, that in communities that you have to have the certain hat and the certain uh, suit and the certain look and the certain, I mean, and different sects and different religions have different attire. God doesn't need all that. God created the grasshopper naked. We came into this world naked. God doesn't need us to put on a suit. And besides, the suit that we put on today isn't what they put on 2,000 years ago. And so what's right and what's wrong? And they lived their life, and that was when the scriptures were written, and they dressed completely different. And there's all sorts of different costumes that different religions or different sects of religions feel like they have to wear in order to be holy. And really, it's coming back into idolatry, because it's the same thing as being a fashionist. I've seen it from within as well. My hat looks big. I have the perfect hat for shul, or for church, or for whatever wherever you mosque, and you have to have this perfect hat, and you have to have this button up, and it has to be, and that isn't godly. That is very I want to say satanic, because the way that I see it, and the way that I perceive it, is that the earthly world, the physical world, right? It's satanic doesn't have to mean evil. It means of matter, of mass. And then there is the unphysical world. It's like the godly, the heavens, the unseen energies. And so you have these two different parts, right? So if you are praying to the matter, I have to look this way, I have to have this costume on, otherwise I'm not holy. And it starts becoming almost like a fashion competition, like who has the better shirt. And it comes back into being very unholy. It comes into like worshiping the matter rather than worshiping the God, or God or gods, or the all, or infinity, or the makeup of everything, creation, um, the divine intelligence, the everything, the all, the perpetual now, Yahweh. It doesn't matter what you call it. It's all the same thing. It is what we are made of and up from. It is one singular consciousness of all that is, that I am part of that consciousness. So, and being stuck in religion because we are feared of being outcast. So this is, and then it turns into a prison, a man-made prison. So religion can turn into, especially if you belong to a community, can turn into a prison, because if you go on to your own individual way of being, even leaving the costume behind, right, you will be outcast from your community. And so you are conditioned to having to put on this show, or having to put on this, I want to say escapade, but it's not an escapade. It's like it's like putting on a play, right? You have to dress the certain way, otherwise you're not going to be accepted, and God isn't going to accept you. And in fact, God accepts all of creation. All of creation is part of God. I am God. You are God. Each and every one of us is part of God. And when the proof in that is when our bodies go back into the earth, they're going back into everything that is. We become dirt. We will become human beings. Human beings are running through my body, as well as worms, as well as the dust is made up of everything that is. And my body is made up of dust. Dust and spirit, whatever that is. What is that? That is also belongs to the one consciousness. It's one little aspect of it in the forefront, you could say. And so it's like a drop of water that is separate from the ocean, or has some kind of illusion as being separate, and being an individual. We are all. It's a paradox. We are all individuals on some levels, but we all are one consciousness. We are a one. You could even look at it. We're one species. We are one consciousness. We're connected to one universe, one world. We're all connected. This is how we communicate, because we are connected to similar. If we didn't have similar attributes, we could not converse with one another. Even language connects between us. So once you find God, you don't need the bridge anymore. So here's the thing. So when you truly find God from within, it's like you could see religion as a bridge crossing a river, right? And so when you use that bridge, but when you get to the other side, or a boat crossing the river, but when you find God, you don't need the bridge anymore, because the connection to God is individual. The most intimate connection, the most intimate relationship is 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 between man himself and God. And once you find that absolute, once you find that connection, once you go inward and you find that inner light that connects you to all that is and to the divine, and you have that perception and understanding, and you are connected, you don't need that set of rituals to guide you. You're already there. It's like once you learn something. Now, there's something here to say about tradition and ritual, because many times we can find that connection, then we slip back into unconsciousness, right? It's an awakening. We awaken to the all, to God, to our divine power. It's an awakening. And many times as we're going through life, we can go back into the illusion and fall back asleep. But but in this, so there is ritual that can really help. Like, for instance, I talk about meditation a lot. Meditation in the morning, every morning, to connect to the divine, to my higher self, to that place of knowing that I belong, and that um, just that sitting in yourself and that quiet. And so meditation is a ritual. You could call it a ritual, but it is something that allows me to keep that connection open. So if you are in a religion and you use that prayer for that purpose rather than just as a ritual that you recite every day with no meaning, right? Where when you put meaning into it and you hear the words and feel their meaning and they connect you, because there is that divine connection. And even religion allows you to have community. And so there are very good things about religion. A religion, it holds that connection between man and God open. What I'm talking about is not making the religion the point. Rather, the religion is there to allow you and to help you keep that connection between you and God open. And in that way, many times once we find God within ourselves and we have that divine connection from within, we can go back and read the scriptures and we see them in a completely different way. We see them completely different than when we're just saying the words and they're coming from a topical place. When it comes from, then all of a sudden you understand the true meaning of the scriptures. It's like a really good book. When you read it once, it's like, oh, that's a really good book. And it keeps on opening for you and opening for you and opening for you. More understandings and more, things that come down. And then you go back and read it again. And then you get even more. It kind of takes it to a much deeper level, things that you couldn't perceive the first time around, right? So it's like watching The Matrix or a good movie. It's like the first time you watch it, you get it topically, and then that starts coming into your consciousness and you start applying it into your life. Second time around, the third time around, or the fourth time around, it just keeps on getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And reading the ancient scriptures is just like that. It's like reading a really good book that just keeps the deepening when you actually read it and find its meaning, because many of the ancient scriptures, it tells you the things in like parables, and then you have to like decipher through it because there's so many messages that one text is giving you all at once, and it's giving different messages to different people. um, So once you are connected to that divine light, you have the divine compass to follow. And when you are connected to that, you can write your own path. So once you are connected to the divine from within, once you're connected to God and you have established that connection so absolute, you can now write your own path there. You can help others find their way there, because the whole process is the spiritual awakening process. It is the process of purifying your own self. When you get all the junk out of the way, you stay pure, right? So the more you do the internal work and remove all of the conditioning, baggage, and a lot of the conditioning religions themselves create. And so when you could remove all the conditioning and you become pure as the day you were born, that is, as pure as that, but with all of the knowledge and with all of the life experience that you have, and adding power to power, right? Because you have your own individual power, and when you purify yourself and you connect to God, then you have the backing of infinite power, and power in a good way. Power, if you purify yourself and you connect to God in that way, it really is only for the good, because you cannot do evil with it if you have purified yourself. It cannot be done. Um, so when you find your true connection, your true belief, You will not be able to hold up the ritual aspects of religion anymore. You won't be able to just do things for ritual because it will seem pagan or false, like praying to a false god or holding ritual above truth. So I kind of touched on that already. Religion can be likened to a bridge that carries you across the river to a bank on the other side. Okay. Your connection to God is such an individual and intimate thing. So each and every one of us, when we connect to God, it is the most intimate connection. And when you connect to God, and through that connection with God, connect to other people, those relationships are all the more intimate. Especially if you are connecting with somebody who has connected to God, then you are connecting from source and not from external things that you have in common. You are connecting from pure source. And so that connection can become as intimate as your connection to the divine. The connection to the divine is that intimate connection to self as well, and self-love. When you connect at that level to God, there can only be self-love there, because you realize that you are of God. You are perfection. You are exactly as you need to be. Even the things that you perceive as impure or imperfect uh, are perfection, and you start realizing that and seeing that there is perfection in what you perceive as imperfection. That is actually come to give you contrast so that you can grow, and so that you can expand, and so that you can have joy in this life. Using the name in vain. So in many religions, like, don't say God's name in vain. And I kind of want to bring this, and it's like a very topical thing. It's like a rule. Don't say God's name in vain. And many people will say God's name in vain all the time by saying, "Oh yeah, God willing, yeah, let's say God willing." When it comes into a place of automatic mode, when you just say it first of all, it can turn into a cop out. It can turn into, I have no personal responsibility. God willing, whatever, God willing, if God wills it. And not only that, you're saying God in a way that already loses its meaning. If it's an automatic mode, you don't feel it, but rather as saying, okay, I'm going to do this task, God willing, God be with me. Before I opened up this video, I want to add in here my own personal. Before I eat, I say thank you to God, and I connect with God and really appreciate where my food came from. I don't say the exact prayer for food by reciting it in ritualistic. I actually look at the food that I have on my plate, and I am in appreciation for the food, which also scientifically, you know, everything is made of vibration. So if I give good vibes to the food that is going to be part of my body, then I am praising it before it comes into my body. I am bringing it into a higher vibration. And besides that, it allows me to appreciate it. It allows me to come into the now, come into this moment, and be in appreciation of everything that had to have happened to bring that food to be on my plate. And before I opened this video, I said a quick prayer to allow whatever needs to come through me to flow through me easily, and may this touch a lot of people and help a lot of people to understand better. Or, you know, everything that I speak of here, I imagine that you can recognize as truth. It's thoughts that you have already had. So even if it is just in legitimatizing and bringing to words what you already knew, because truth is truth. When you hear truth, you recognize it. And so it's just bringing the obvious forefront. Um, so saying the name in vain, saying God's name in vain, if you're just saying it, bleh, then it loses its meaning. And then when you truly uh, uh, want to use God's name for something that matters, you almost like lose the capability. Um, and when you truly call on God, when you truly call, because you are part of God, you are an inseparable part of everything that is. This body of yours has been many bodies before you, has been worms, has been dirt, has been metals, has everything that is flowing through you has been here since the beginning of time, what was the beginning of time? It has always, it's perpetual, always. It's so much larger than we can even conceive with our minds. It is the everything, the all, the infinite intelligence. That's why I say it's so silly to think that the infinite intelligence needs me to be praying for it. And I'm gonna get to that, because I'll get to that in a second. Because the prayer is more for me to remind myself of my connection, to connect me, rather than for the gods or for God or for the divine intelligence. The divine intelligence doesn't need me. The divine intelligence accepts me no matter what, just because I am. I am part of existence. I get to choose what part that is, like how I experience it and what I do with this life, but I'm held. I cannot be different. And so when you call on God, being that you are part of God, being that the forces of nature are with you, are part of you, are flowing through you, there is always an answer. That is why you do not call on God in vain. You do not call on, oh God, I need another dollar. When you truly, truly call on God, God will show up, and show up in powerful ways. And I have stories of this within myself, where I'll tell one story. I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills in this one month, and there was no food, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was in a field, an abandoned field of mango, and I was picking mango, and I just started crying. I just started crying. I felt so disconnected. I felt like I felt abandoned. Like, how am I going to do this? And nobody cares. I'm all by myself. And a single mother. I have children that live with me. I'm a single parent. And it feels sometimes like the weight of the world is on my shoulders, and I'm left to fend for myself, especially the way humanity is. And that's has been a lot of my awakening, is because it used to be that you would be in a village, and no matter what, you would be held. And now it's like each household is left to be a village on their own. And especially as a single parent, everybody's running around trying to get stuff, That's, a lot of times that's the way I see the world, is that everybody's there. There's so many, and really it depends on what you choose to look at. But when you are in those lower states of nobody cares, nobody sees me, I'm completely abandoned, feel no community, feel like nobody cares. I could fall and have nothing to eat, and nobody around me would even notice. None of my neighbors, nobody would care. And it's a feeling of being so alone. And just a minute, I'm going to pause this. Okay, we'll see if we can get through this. And so I started praying. I started feeling really sorry for myself, first of all, like completely abandoned. And I started praying and really bawling, like crying and almost like demanding. I said, God, you have to come in. You have to come in and hold me up. And I collected some mangoes, and I went back to my car, and I started driving home. And you can look at it and say, well, you have a car, you can drive. But when you're in those low places, a lot of times it feels like you have no hope, and there's always hope. And besides, all of it is a part of the experience of being human. I got to experience that, the feeling of being completely alone and abandoned. So you can look at those points also as good points. And so I got to my car, and I started driving, and my sister put something in the family group. Right as I got to my car and started driving, I see my sister posted something. And she said, "You all should try submitting this form." And I look at it, and it was a form to the government to get some return, some like tax return or something. And so I said to myself, okay, I just was praying, and my sister sent this. There's a sign here. So I got home and I filled in the form. It took me 5 minutes. I filled in the form, gave all the information I needed, and I sent it. And the next day, the very next day, I had money deposited in my bank account. The very next day. And that was like, for me, it was like, okay, that was the sign from God telling me, okay, you're on the right track. You're okay. I'm holding you. And it was just a crazy, you know, people could say, oh, it's a coincidence, but I don't see it as a coincidence. I see it as prayers answered, or miracles, or, when you look around, there are miracles everywhere. When you have the complete belief in God and you understand, all of a sudden you look around and you see how magnificent everything really truly is. You see the wonder of it all, that I can take 5 fingers and I can write and put words on paper that have meaning. I mean, the detail in each and every one of the leaves behind me. I can move my mouth, and sound comes out, and it makes a meaning that other people can understand. It's telepathy, really. It's like a very physical form of telepathy. And it's taking my thoughts and transferring them into something that somebody else can understand. The magnificence that we just take for granted on a daily basis. And even the being able to experience the fear of, oh no, what am I going to do this month? I can't make my rent, or things like that. It allows your life experience. And look, I have this story to tell. It expands your life experience. It makes your life experience that much richer, even if when you are going through them, you are perceiving them as pain. And so this is getting back to using God's name in vain. So when you really, truly call upon God, God comes in instantaneously. There's been so many times that I feel something, I feel like I can't, and I pray to God, and within a few minutes, all of a sudden I feel relaxed. So the minute you call upon God, God shows up. And what is God? God is everything. It's the energy. It's a new energy will flow through you and calm you down. And that is God. God speaks to us in whispers. Okay. You have power in your life. You were given the power of God in you to make choice, to choose between right and wrong. And right and wrong, sometimes it's very difficult to make the difference between the absolute right. What is the higher good? What is the good for all? What is the good for the expansion? What is good for the planet? Then what is good for me? And sometimes they go together and sometimes they don't. And so choosing what is right and righteous will set you right by God, and will enhance your experience, and will bring you to that place of connection with the all, in alignment. So you always have power in your life. You were given the power of choice, and you get to choose where your perspective is and what your belief is, even if it doesn't feel like it. And even if you feel trapped in societal conditioning, or you can't leave your community because if you do, you will be shunned and you'll lose out on your family or what. But you still always have the choice to stand up and be right with yourself. And at some point during the spiritual awakening, you cannot do different. You have to be true to yourself, and you have to be true, because being true to yourself is being true to God. Being true to yourself. If you continue to live a superficial life, you will continue to go into all of those little spider webs and all of the webs of the conditioning and the what is it, or chaos or confusion. Until you start following your true self, you're going to be lost in confusion. Um, you are your own refuge. Okay, it says that, yeah, about the power in your life and how you have the choice. And then it says, then I wrote, you are your own refuge. Okay, so I'm going to, because I got to a place with a lot of writing, I'm going to pause this for a second, read over, and then sum it up. Just give me a sec. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read this because I think it's very self-explanatory. So you can get glimpses of the light through the structures of religion, but structures do not and cannot hold the light. Absolute something absolute light is all things. Okay, the absolute God, the absolute light is all things, including the structure put in place by man so that you can travel through them and arrive. But once you arrive, you leave the structures behind. It can't be different because God is those structures as well. So once you use religion, let's say the structure of religion, to reach that place of light, when you go into the light, it is individual. You can go by yourself. You can't take the religion with you because the religion itself is made of God. So in order to fully immerse, and it is infinite expansion. So you're going into infinite expansion, which cannot be confined into structure. So God, there is no structure to God. God is all things, including structure. So going into the infinite, you have to leave the structure behind. God is boundless and cannot be confined into structures or religion. God is beyond the confinement of religion. It is perpetual existence itself, and you are an inseparable part of it, whether you know it or don't know it. So whether you believe it or not believe it, it doesn't make a difference. You are a part. That is an absolute. You are part of everything that is. Even if you are an atheist, then it doesn't matter. God is, you still are a part of the divine intelligence of all that is. Your body is made up of dirt, just like my body, just like is that it doesn't matter what you believe, you still are allowed to believe what you want to believe, and you are held in that belief. That is how unconditional the love of God is for you. God's love is so infinite that your perception of it is irrelevant. You will be held in all that you choose to believe. When you abandon God, you are only cutting yourself off from knowing and feeling that you are held. So if you're abandoning God and you're saying, well, I don't believe in God, it's not cutting, the only thing you're cutting off is your knowing that you are connected. You are still connected. It can't be different, but you are not, you're cutting yourself off of that comfort of knowing that you are connected to all that is and to God. So you are held regardless. When you choose righteousness, you choose to surrender into the river of what is. So righteousness is flowing into cause and effect, is flowing into the way that things are. When you find God within, you find inner peace, peace with all that is around you, and your inner worlds and outer worlds align. So when you find God, your inner world and your outer world, everything aligns for you. You are one with all that is, the perpetual all. The proof in this is embedded in your existence itself. You are forever held. It could not be different. You are an inseparable part. You are love, and you are loved. Denying yourself is denying all that is in existence, and vice versa. Lost in interpretation, I've already covered that. When it turns into ritual, I've covered that. Okay, I've already covered all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I appreciate you watching until now. And if you would like a one-on-one session with me, my contact information is below. I hope that this was very helpful. Sending you so much love.